Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude at BeyondMystic, and welcome to this deep woo-woo private session entitled Galactic Odyssey, the Genesis. Let me first introduce my co-host for this private session, Janine. You can find her at Sending Ravens here on YouTube and also at Tarot by Janine. Janine, welcome back to the show.
Hi, the two of you.
Hi, Janine.
And you can also meet my friend here, Julie Degnaud. You can find her at maisonjupiter.com. Julie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jean-Claude. Hi, everybody.
Well, I'm excited to have you on, and I have to admit, I'm also a little bit nervous. So we'll start there. Let me set the preface here by saying I've been thinking about this episode and this recording here for a couple of days, and I decided to record it in case we want to share this publicly later on. But we're not doing a live stream today because we're dealing with perhaps some personal nature information of sorts, and we wanted to take it easy on each other and then take a decision as to where this was going to go. So if you're watching this now, we've eventually made the decision to broadcast this to you guys here on YouTube. So welcome everyone to this private session. So before we start, as you can see, Julie's on the screen here. I'll start with you, Julie. I'll ask you the first time guest question as I normally would in case we do actually showcase this episode at one point here. So let's start here. How did universe conspire to bring you to the work you're doing today?
Right, that's the big question. So I started out as a dancer and a graphic designer. So I've pretty much been always an artist. And following my professional formation in dance and professional formation in graphic design, I worked in that field for about maybe 10 years. And I felt like something was off, something was wrong. I needed to do more. I was kind of searching, like I guess everybody does at one point in their lives. So at one point, I decided to go to Dominican Republic on a whim, quit my job, and then I was working for one of the professional sports team in Montreal as a graphic designer. I had a great job, and I decided to buy a laptop, become self-employed, go to Dominican Republic and learn Dominican bachata. So it started out like I would say my exiting of the matrix, as I would call it. And I just followed my heart on this. And I knew it was either that or I was going to do a burnout. So I was like, let's go for dance.
Okay, very good. Let's backtrack a little bit. You talked about starting as a dancer just before the show here. You sent me a few slides. So let's talk about your childhood here. I see you're doing pre-ballet or ballet. As a kid, did you fit in? Did you feel that you were kind of ostracized from everybody else? Were you looking at the stars at all, thinking, hey, what the hell is this planet all about? Share that with the audience here.
Yeah, I felt different for sure. But it's kind of weird because I feel like I had to blend in. I had to learn how to blend in, watch how people would talk, react, and like do the same thing, try to be like a chameleon type of thing. So I did blend in. I did have a lot of friends, but deep down I knew I wasn't like everybody else. But it was more like under the ground.
Okay. So you really didn't share that with anyone?
Not really.
Okay, that's
until very recently.
You sent me this other picture too I wanted to share with the audience. This, I believe, is in Afghanistan. What's going on here?
Yes, so I was also a professional cheerleader for the Montreal team, the Alouettes, because I just love dance, and I figured out it was one of the best professional gigs you can do in dance, and it was truly amazing. I met like amazing women throughout this whole experience. I've been on a team for 15 years. At the end, I was coaching the dance team, choreographing, so creating lots of cool stuff, music mixes, choreography. So very, very much into the creating arts. And so, yeah, we were asked, a couple of us, to go to Afghanistan three times to perform for the Canadian military. So I was like, I don't know why I said yes at first, but I did. because remind you, it was in the middle of the big war.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went there. It was an amazing experience, but it was mostly like the human experience, talking to the people there and sharing some hope, I guess, good energies, because they were pretty much depressed.
Okay. And where was that big transition for you into this world of spirituality, astrology, and tarot? Explain that to the audience here, and then we'll get Janine to jump in.
I think it had to do with the fact that my love life wasn't exactly following, like my professional life, I had it together, it was fine. But the more personal side of it wasn't functioning at all. So I had at one point this big heartbreak. And I asked myself, what could I do to really do something that I want to do deeply for myself, not for anybody else? And the answer was to do a tarot course, because I've always been fascinated by the cards. But when I was younger, I thought that you had to have a gift, and I thought I didn't have this gift. So yeah.
Okay.
But I did that just for myself, and it started this process in the woo.
In the woo. And now you're deep in the woo. All right. I love it. Janine, your first reaction here, you know that Julie reached out to me, and through a series of circumstances here, we kind of got together. And when I heard some of the videos on her YouTube channel for the first time, I was like, oh, I know this person. Similar to my friend Jason at 10 years ago, I saw a video of him. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do something with him in the future. He didn't know me, I didn't know him, but I knew universe would kind of bring us together. And we're kind of here now in that same place in my life, but with Julie here. And so I'm happy to have you on to kind of maybe fill in the gaps as to maybe why that is, what's going on, how maybe universe is conspiring right now in this particular lifetime to bring us together. So first impressions, if you wish, and then maybe let's start pulling some cards and seeing what the hell this connection is all about.
Right away, when you got Julie's information, you sent it to me, if I remember correctly, and you were very, very inspired by her story and just what she was all about. And it felt like, now that I know you, and even though we've never met in person, I really feel like I know you, lifetimes of knowing you. I knew right away there was some kind of connection there, and you knew it too, like a past life connection, because you usually have that very reaction when there's been a past life connection. I've seen it maybe 3 times, like with you and I, with Tamara, you and I, and now with Julie. And I'm sure it's happened lots of, like, we often meet soul connected, soul family members.
Don't forget Bryce, as of late too. We're all in this weird turmoil together. Yeah. I say turmoil, I mean like of understanding all of these connections, and we're all in a tailspin would be the better word here since that episode with Tamara. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So right away, we, looking into it just felt like a natural thing. And I hope Julie's okay with that. We just had a little look into it, and her being a tarot reader as well, and an astrologer, she knows how curious astrologer. You have to be curious to be a good reader. You actually have to care about why people are here and what they're doing together. If you don't, you're not going to be a very good reader. You could be a psychic person, but if you don't really care about others' story and how it affects their lives, how are you going to read for others? Like, there has to be a curiosity to actually take it further and become a reader for others.
Right.
So anyway, we looked into it. And if I remember correctly, and Jean-Claude, you can fill in the gaps, because I was channeling, so I don't always remember what I was saying. But the first thing we got was off-world connection, but like really intense, maybe even intimacy or emotional. And also you were pulled apart from each other. So sometimes when that, in one of your lifetimes, so sometimes when that happens, when you do meet them again, there's an instant, okay, I got to do something with this person. It'll have that effect on intuitively connected people. They'll be like, okay, I don't know why, but this person is important. You follow that. Do you remember more of what we said?
Yeah, that's a good start. And for me too, I expressed to you how I was, like you said, being guided or compelled to talk to this person, kind of like with Carla on the show too. Like, it's just like universe is like screaming at me, essentially. And for the case for Julie, they were screaming at me, and I was as I was looking at it, I was getting the message, oh yeah, sure, I'm on mission, just put it on the plate, I'll get to it, like it's, you know, par for the course for the work I'm doing. But then suddenly I got struck with some fear, and so I asked you, well, where's this fear coming from? And so now the part about being ripped apart, I think that was the fear of maybe having to feel that, or wanting to know if that was in the karma again, that we were going to relive that same karma. So maybe here, can you pull some cards and figure out why were we being ripped apart? And I think when you were channeling, you said more than once in some of these off-world locations, and it didn't have anything to do with another lover or anything like that. It had to do something with circumstance, like politics, religion, control matrix, and stuff like that. So it was always kind of in our way. And I was questioning, well, what was that? And now in this lifetime, are we going to relive that, or is this a brand new territory here?
A manipulative woman that lifetime who was threatened by your relationship kept you apart, and the woman wasn't like another lover. It could have been a mother figure.
Okay. If you don't remember, let me bring this one up. So again, this is why, guys, we're not sure if we're going to make this private or not, but we'll see how the rest of the episode goes here. But what Janine pulled up, because I mentioned to her that you, Julie, had a sister, and you guys do tarot astral readings together on your YouTube. And as Janine was pulling and channeling this, she says, oh yeah, your sister was my mother. And my mother did not want me and you together. That was one of those lifetimes. So can we dive into that maybe here too? What's the karmic loop here of the sister? And I know Julie wants to chime in here because it makes a lot of sense to her even in this lifetime now. So can you maybe help us understand that relationship here, Julie?
Yeah, my sister also does. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Julie. Go ahead, Julie.
Go ahead.
My sister also does losing my words in English. Hypnosis for past lives. Got it.
Okay.
So she also does that, and we found out that actually our soul contract was division, war. It's always been very tough between us in this lifetime and all the other lifetimes that we had together. So at one point she had hypnosis done to her, and the lady told her that this was the first lifetime that we could actually do something together and work together and work through this duality that we had together. So it made a lot of sense when I knew that, because it's the first time that we can actually have a relationship, a healthy one.
Okay.
But it's not always been like that. It's pretty recent.
Okay.
That's
all
awesome.
right. Janine, you want to pull some cards on that and maybe give either of us or both of us some guidance here on how to, I guess, tread this endeavor here with the sister involved here in this karmic loop?
Okay, I just want to start by explaining, because I've read for so many years and we looked at past lives, years and years and years through. Most of my clientele, they're interested in their past lives. If I pick it up in the reading, we talk about it. And almost everybody you come close with has had a connection, and it's not always a good one, but that just means there's work to do, and it doesn't mean it won't be really fulfilling, and you can really learn to love each other and get past those things. So there's no judgment when we're talking about, okay, in a past life, they were this person, but this lifetime, they're going to both work together. It's interesting that if she was Jean-Claude's mother in that lifetime and kept them apart, this lifetime, she's actually by the side of her sister, the woman she kept apart from her love in that other lifetime, and is in a supportive role and working together with her. So that's kind of interesting. So you get put together in these situations. Like my mother, I had a dream about her early in my astrology and tarot sort of awakening when I started to study it. And I started getting dreams about my past lives, and anybody important, I'd have a dream about what we were doing in past lives. And it was very specific with my mother. She was literally in the Catholic Church, really high up in the church way back in the day, in the Inquisition times. And she was signing a piece of paper that was going to put me to death as a witch.
Wow.
So yeah, in this lifetime, she's my mom. And so we had a kind of a difficult years, but then we actually, for the most part, until this whole fake demic thing came along, and she's very fearful and incredibly bought into what the government are doing, etc. So that's actually kind of ripping us apart again of late. But for the most part, we've mended a lot of fences, let's just say. So I just wanted to start by saying, just because you had a difficult past life doesn't mean it can be really rewarding and amazing even to do the work. Sure. Okay, so now we're going to look at, what are we going to look at again?
Well, let's just look at this lifetime here and get some guidance with, I guess, the role that maybe we can backtrack and figure out first what this soul mission is supposed to be in this particular lifetime here between Julie and I, and perhaps even yourself here. We seem to be connected, and then to see how Sophie, the sister, also ties into that and how we can navigate that all together for the highest good of everyone.
Okay, it's an opportunity to get in touch with memories of off-world for both of you and get closer to those sort of relations or relationships. That's my off-world, and this is an opportunity card. And to be able to, so both of you might start having memories of lifetimes off-planet. So it gets you closer to your relatives and lifetimes off-planet. Sometimes you two might even find each other in the memories. And also, I feel like it's a bridge. The two of you could work together to bring awareness, maybe, and let a lot of other people understand. They might have had off-world experiences and what that might mean, because a lot of people don't really dabble in that. But I think in the age of Aquarius, we're going that direction. Everything's pointing to, okay, our real history has to come through, and really what we've been up to, and a deepening of our spiritual connectedness to our own souls who've lived many lifetimes in other galaxies, likely.
Right. And to reconnect perhaps with our galactic families. And this is why I entitled this Galactic Odyssey, this long, difficult voyage of us through the galaxy. Go ahead.
And that is exactly what, like you said, because this was in the middle of these two. So off-world connections, opportunity to connect again. And this is the happy family card. Finding your galactic family together.
Wow.
Through, you're stronger together, being as you were both in those lifetimes together. And then this is interesting. So when it relates to the sister, independent. So the two sisters really, even though they're very different, unique, independent beings, to really learn to understand and appreciate and love each other. Maybe the sisters learn to really let go of any kind of control she might have tried to have on Julie. And I'm only assuming that might have still come through in this lifetime, but I'm not saying it did. So Julie, you can help me with that. But like, it feels like both of you allowing each other as sisters to have a lot of independence and space, yet you're still actually working together. That's an amazing feat, frankly. Can you weigh in there on what it feels like to work with your sister?
Yeah, sure. Well, you were right on point, by the way. But I feel like the energy now is way more balanced. It's not like there's not a power struggle between us. It's very well balanced. I feel like it's clear. Our missions are clearer now, so it's easier. And I forgot to mention that we did not speak for about, I would say maybe 10 years. I don't know. And when we reconnected, we had done a lot of spiritual growth, and we learned tarot, not knowing that the other one learned tarot also. We did like the same stuff at the same time without knowing. So when we did reconnect, it was on a totally different level this time.
Wow, fascinating. Okay.
And can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have an oracle deck, and I picked a card I think it was last week, and it really ties into what Janine was saying. It's I don't know if you can see it. It's ancient aliens. So it says ETs have always been a part of our history. And in the booklet, it says that you have to research your origins. So I got this card, and I was like, okay, like I kind of knew. Obviously, I was a starseed, but envoy starseed. But like getting this card and Janine talking about what she said. I think it was very interesting.
It all ties in together. Okay. You sent me a few questions that you wanted to ask also, Julie. Why don't you pick one of the questions there and we will alternate here back and forth moving forward.
Okay. So in my astrology natal chart, trying to move with the sun here, I have my Chiron in the 10th house in Gemini. So 10th house being career for the public, and Gemini being the sign of public speaking, communication, sharing knowledge. And so I have my Chiron there, which means that I have something to heal. And I always also have my North Node, which means that my life mission is going towards this house and this sort of theme. But with my Chiron there, I felt like I had to release a lot of blockages before really going with my life mission, which is more sharing knowledge, public speaking, all of this. So, and I was told recently that I've been hung as a witch in a past life, like many of us, you know. Mm-hmm. So I was wondering if my blockage with my Chiron there in the 10th house in Gemini was related to that, or is there something else I need to know about that blockage?
Okay, very good.
Okay, before I even look at these cards, I was getting kind of a download when you were talking. So right away, just astrologically, what that kind of tells me anyway is, so if your north node, where you want to go towards, is there. So there's a lot of emphasis there. And then your Chiron, which is you're not only healing something from lifetimes about sharing your voice and knowledge, but you're also going to be able to heal others, because the wounded healer, you become a healer through your wounds. Mm-hmm. That's the idea anyway, right? Some people become victims. And of course, that's not where we want to go. Right. Higher spiritual vibration becomes the healer of others through the knowledge of what you went through yourself. So it feels to me like healing the sort of having the self-esteem to share what you know. And the very first thing you said about tarot was you didn't believe, even though you were attracted. Here you've been hung as a witch. You were probably doing things like magical work, mm-hmm. Okay, and healing work. But of course, it would have been misconstrued back in those days. And it was all a political move to get rid of powerful women and take property out of women's hands. But anyway, we know that was likely the dark cult cabal families back then, even at play, right? Repressing the feminine again. They've been up to those tricks for thousands of years. But right away, you said you didn't really think you were per se gifted. Okay. Yet you were attracted to doing it. So that's interesting. So I feel like to remember what you know, with Chiron sitting in the 10th, and actually, in fact, you're incredibly gifted and you came here really intuitive. So to remember that you are that, and to also honor yourself, that makes sense as part of the learning there is self-esteem around what you do know and giving yourself permission to be really intuitive and connected. Because a lot of us just are brought up thinking we're not, or told we're not, or I had no clue until a reader sat me down and said, you're going to be a reader for your living, and you've done this for lifetimes. I thought she was nuts. And then somebody handed me a deck of cards months later on my birthday, and I fell into literally a vision. People thought I fainted at my birthday party. I had this deck of cards, I fell backwards, and then a whole vision happened where because I'm very visual. So I got the whole picture in this vision, and I kind of came to going, okay, this is my life. This is my life now. And I literally dropped everything, because I'm kind of crazy that way, and just went there. So it's about like the block came from, was undid by that tarot reader, what she said. So I wonder for you where the block came apart, because you already feel like you've sort of manifested that, or you're working towards it by what you're doing. Look at what you've done. Your life's been incredibly prolific. Look at all the areas you've sort of dabbled in, mm-hmm. all very goddess areas. Dance, that's like a form of the goddess. Mm-hmm. It's like you can channel literally the goddess through dance and bring people to, you can shift people's energy by watching through music, through dance. It's absolutely goddess work. Everything you've done is goddess work. It's beautiful. Going to where the troops are and giving them energy and an energy boost. That's the sacred goddess work right there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I think that would be where the healing is. And this card says you've already gone a long way to healing it.
Yeah.
And it's about getting the word out and just following your true heart, which is exactly what you did. You stopped doing things that didn't serve your deep truth, and you moved in the direction of your heart. So followed your heart. That's exactly what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're doing it, girl. You were called to it. You were called to it. You had a wake-up call at some point, and that's in the past and the present. Just to remember, you were actually incredibly intuitive, came here with those gifts. You got lifetimes of working with people. It's just remembering. Just coming into your own personal power. You're already doing it.
Wow. Fascinating. Okay, Julie, why don't you go ahead and ask another question?
Sure. So I kind of put your birth charts on my screen to prepare a little bit for the show. And
Uh-oh, we're in trouble now, Janine.
Uh-oh, she knows.
She knows.
You can't hide anything from her.
Yeah.
So where do we go? I noticed there was an interesting theme between you guys. Okay, there's one aspect that JC has his Venus in Taurus, and Janine has her Sun and Mercury, like right on that Venus. So Janine lights up JC's talent, JC's creativity, feminine side even, we can say. And being in the sign of Taurus, it means that your relationship is built to last. It's very loyal. It's a strong partnership bond, strong personal bond as well. It's in JC's 7th house, so it's like ideal partnerships. So this is a very strong connection. And also, Janine's Venus is at 12 degrees in Aries, and right on that spot is JC's Chiron. So we talked about the wounded healer earlier. So JC's Chiron is right on Janine's Venus. So in a way, in Aries, forgot to mention. But it's at the same degrees, which is 12 degrees, which is a Pisces degrees, according to Nicolas Stojanovic degrees theory, which is a very mystical degree for Aries. So we can say that JC, in a way, helps Janine liberate herself, liberates the feminine side in Janine, maybe. So I wanted to know, can we go a little bit further on that topic here?
Okay, well, before we go too fast, man, I'm gonna cry. Janine, you mentioned something the other day in another video about how very quickly at the beginning of a relationship, you needed to heal your relationship with the divine masculine, and how I triggered that in you. Do you feel comfortable sharing this here? And again, keep in mind, we might eventually decide to put this forward to the public, but I won't do that unless you all agree to it. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, well, it goes with my Scorpio moon, not trusting, like Scorpio moon placement, lifetimes of abuse, sexual abuse, and enslavement, and in particular, sexual enslavement, Scorpio, right? And often life, death threatening situations. So having lived in very treacherous lifetimes, a Scorpio moon comes out of the deal a survivor. So they never want to be victimized again. They're adamant about not being victimized. If they're well aspected Scorpio moons, some Scorpio moons continue to be victimized, even if they're not being victimized. So, but a more evolved Scorpio moon comes in and they want to heal others. They're very intuitive already from birth, and they need, because they gained all that intuition from surviving. So it's all about survival, but they certainly don't trust, like because everybody they trusted turned into their abuser. So they come into the lifetime being very psychologically bright. They never, because I never trusted any, even my parents. I was always looking at them like, from a little girl, I'm like, I don't know, you guys are pretty nice, but and I don't know about you guys. You know what I mean? I was like, so funny. I was so detached watching everybody. I was like a little spy from the day one. And I was born 2 months preemie. So I was in an incubator for 2 months. So I didn't really bond with my mom, which her and I have talked about. She didn't really bond. She didn't get me at all. I was a teeny little 3 pounds. Mom said I looked like a couple of pads of butter, like I was so little. And but I survived because Scorpio moons survive no matter what. So we're like warriors. Mm-hmm. So what you're saying there just makes sense, that I came in not trusting, and especially in this lifetime, men. Mm-hmm. Okay, but I really am attracted to men. So but I still don't trust them. And I'd pick my guys very detached, who didn't really see me, because I didn't want to be seen, because that became dangerous in other lifetimes. So this lifetime, I would choose very self-centered guys. That was my go-to, and really sort of narcissistic, pretty boy types. Anyway.
Yeah, I think we have that pattern in common.
Right? Not very good partner types, on purpose though, because then it would fulfill my idea that you can't really trust them, and right. So I was doing it on purpose. You do these things on purpose because it felt safe. Because if they turned around and really looked at me, that would be scary, because you don't want to be seen if you're a Scorpio moon, because you have to survive. You have to be silent and stealth. So you can know them totally and get them, but they don't get to get you. That makes you unsafe, because now you're going to be emotionally entangled, and that's problematic, because that equals hurt. Okay, so those are the old patterns, and I recognize them actually I've been working on that my whole life. But when Jean-Claude and I met, he was like, I've met about 4 men in my life that I would say, these are the sacred masculine. These men are, I love David Daida, by the way, and I get his whole idea about sacred feminine, sacred masculine. I've studied Tantra. I totally love all those ideas. But I wasn't allowing anybody like that into my life. So it's safe to be friends with a sacred masculine who gets the feminine. So Jean-Claude really lights that part up and goes, okay, I can trust this guy. And I could tell him really deep truths about myself right from fairly quickly on. Mm-hmm. And he can call me out on stuff. Usually I don't let any guys get close enough to call me out on my stuff. It's like, no, thanks. I'll call you out on your stuff, though. Okay, that's what I did. Like I purposely chose to be a card reader for 35 years, because now I'm talking about everybody's stuff. I'm not talking about my stuff, I'm talking about your stuff. Do you know what I mean? But Jean-Claude he's not safe in a way, but I love it. It's okay. Because he would call you, like he doesn't miss a beat. If there's something going on, he's the first one to go, is something going on with you? I'm like, how did you know? Yeah.
Okay.
See right through your soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Did you have Are you gonna make us blush there, Julie? Do you have any specific question with relation to that, or how did you phrase that? Did we answer your question?
Yeah, it was perfect. I just wanted to bring that up.
You're good.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
good.
you.
It's funny. Janine mentioned David Deida. I've been a student of David Deida's books for quite some time, and I do recommend a lot of my male friends to read this book, The Way of the Superior Man. It is the evolution here in many cases of what we're talking about, and I think that's probably what Janine saw in me, and maybe what Julie seen in me. And wow, okay, that's a whole other topic here too. We could talk about the fact that since I was a boy too, like I've always had friends who were women. I had a lot of difficulty socializing with kids my age. I didn't have the same perceptions of them, and they always thought I was weird, and I thought they were absolutely weird also. So it was kind of a rough childhood, but this is not about me. Let's go back here to this storyboard. So let me see if I can pick one of my questions for Janine here. So we talked about my fear, my anxiety at the beginning of maybe reconnecting with Julie, because for me it was like 1,000-year-old relationship in the past, or it was like I haven't seen her for 1,000 years. So that's how long it's been. And since she connected with me, I did see some images. You talked about earlier some memories. One of them in particular, and you'll think it's absolutely amazing, but we were in this, I guess you could call it a hot spring. It was outdoors. I'll bring a picture. I don't have an exact picture of it, but I just found this on YouTube, and I thought, oh, okay, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like a crystal bath or a crystal kind of formation with hot springs or mineral hot springs, and it's on a different planet. It's not here, like the feel of it. And she and I were using that, and again, connecting with not just the water, not just with the planet, but there was something about this location here that was like, whatever intention you put in this water and through this crystal on this particular planet has this huge like outgoing effect, a wave. At any rate, I've been kind of downloading that since we started talking. I don't know what that is. Maybe not important for the show here, but I wanted to bring it up as to validate what you're saying. I'm getting all of these images. As you guys know, I'm very visual. I get these movie downloads all the time. So that was one of them. Let me ask this one here. I have this connection with an ET race that gave me this metallic book, I believe now 12 years ago, maybe longer, but I think the one I really remember was 12 years ago, and then subsequently. It's a metallic book that looks kind of like mercury, so it's like a liquid book, and it only takes forms, the writings on the page only takes forms if you're the right frequency to hold the book. And so I've talked to a lot of other psychics about this, and this is part of a mission-oriented book. And my feeling when Julie came to my field of energy was that she also had the keys to this particular book. So I want to ask Janine if Julie indeed has a connection to perhaps either the missions that are in the book, or if she already has the book herself and might not know it yet.
This dropped out while I was just about to go to shuffle. This literally dropped in my lap.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. So, okay. So to follow up that here too, Julie to me and in other visions is doing high priest work in temples. Some of the temples look pyramidal shape from within. Some do not, but they're old, and some look like completely different architecture that I can explain that don't really exist here on the planet. And I'm wondering if I have a lot of divine feminine friends in my life who are connected to this work as well. So you call it the Temple of Isis or the Sisterhood of the Rose. And I wanted to know what maybe Julie's connection is with me and some of these other divine feminines in my life that are in that work now. Is she part of this group somehow? Are we supposed to bring her in? Is she supposed to bring different keys to this group? What's that relationship looking like?
Yep. You have to move into it slowly though, and it'll slowly evolve. Don't try to force it. So don't do this. Yes to the question, but this is how to do it slowly and carefully. Like let it naturally come forward with the two of you working together.
Okay. Okay. Julie, as-tu une autre question?
Yeah, sure.
You can skip, you can stay with the list you had, or you can
because
it's up to you.
we kind of went here and there and here, so I'm trying to figure out what should be next. Okay, so on our birth charts, I looked at mine and JC's, and we have the same Jupiter placement, the exact same.
Wow.
Which is in Capricorn, and it's supposed to bring mutual expansion as well as financial gain, learn from each other, being mutual mentors, and it amplifies everything it touches. So Capricorn is a sign associated with business, with building structures for the future. So I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about this side of the connection and what we are here to bring each other in this lifetime.
Do you remember, Jean-Claude, I did get that you asked if you would work together maybe with Julie, or would that be a good idea? And we got the Chariot, which is absolutely, you'd both quickly move ahead and both of you get to your vision or success, like kind of like your big dreams, a lot quicker working together than apart.
Wow.
Yeah.
And also, if I may add, Jupiter, it expands everything. So earlier, JC, you were talking about maybe doing something in French. So can we say it's a good idea with this aspect?
Absolutely. So you're going to bring a healing to a whole part of the community that otherwise could be left out. So that's interesting. And you're going to do really well doing that. So you're definitely good for each other's financial gain, abundance, but also healing a community or being inclusive in a community. So that would make sense to bring in the French aspect. Mm-hmm. The fact that you're both French speaking this lifetime is a great, like that just makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. JC, say something.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a little stunned there, and also I'm downloading this other question that I didn't prepare for, and I'm struggling as to whether I should ask it. But I'll go ahead and ask it, and we can always decide to either edit it out or not publish. So it has to do with divine feminine frequency. A lot of the divine feminines who come on my show, there's a recurring theme, and for a lot of them, like Janine just said, they were in past lives and there's still past traumas that they're trying to get through in this particular lifetime. And it has to do with the Taoists call the second and third gate. We don't need to get into all of that. And I'm intuiting that perhaps that is also the case for Julie. And I do have the keys for that, by the way. And this is why a lot of these people come to me, because I give them these keys. And I'm wondering, well, let me preface that is very difficult work to do because it goes directly to people's core wounds, and sometimes it's difficult. So it creates stress in the relationship. It creates let's just say difficulty. I don't even have the words. I'm trying to translate from geometry, and so I'm wondering if that is the case for Julie, and if I do end up helping her at that level as well, and introducing her maybe to other divine feminines who've gone through that process, is that going to be detrimental to what you've just described now as this big chariot of us doing work together on our mission? Or is that also exactly our mission that we're supposed to bring to everybody else together? Does that make sense? Julie, do you want to chime in before she pulls the card? I see you nodding. Do you want to say anything?
Sure. Because I kind of saw an aspect relating to that, but I wasn't sure if I should bring it up. So here we are. You, JC, you have your Pluto at 0 degree Libra, where I have my Venus. So they're both connecting in Libra, which is the sign of relationships. And Pluto's the transformer, the healer. Mm-hmm. And Venus is the divine feminine and possibly the wounds there. I'm letting Janine speak.
Okay. He's going to blow up her Venus.
I'm going to blow up her Venus. Yes. Okay.
Beautiful. Okay. So energetically, for sure. So this, we've got 7. So this is what you were asking. Are you going to be that sort of work to each other, or are you going to do that kind of work in a way, but it feels really unique. So the divine feminine work is already started between you two by even just coming to like answering the call to come together. You've already started. It's like happening on an unconscious level. I don't even think you have to be conscious of it. And as you work together, it'll just become really obvious. I don't feel like it has to be a sort of tackled purposefully. It's already like you two just have that effect with each other's energy, like that Pluto. But she was just talking about working on her Venus, and it's already happening. So when you come together, I feel like it just creates everybody who's being worked with through the work you'll do together. It naturally trickles down to their healing if they need work there too. So I don't think it's happening karmically naturally. All of those are these are major arcana cards. So it's going to happen anyway, just by your two energies together, just change the frequency for anybody working with the two of you?
I believe it's happening right now, and especially at night during sleep. So we're kind of being transposed into another area, and we're both already having these weird like energy waves going through the body. So it's kind of like transmuting something already. It's hard to describe. Julie, do you want to maybe put some words to that too, and what you've been feeling?
Yeah, I feel my body buzzing with energy, like it's almost too much to handle.
Too much to handle.
Yeah.
Well,
go
ahead.
I can't sleep, to be honest. It's been
Is that like the kundalini kind of going up the spine, or how, like is it invigorating kind of energy, or is it?
It's more invigorating.
That could be kundalini. I wonder if the Pluto placement with the Venus could inspire the kundalini.
Yes, that would make sense. That would make sense.
Because I met my son's dad right at a really crucial time. I think I was 39 when I met him. And I had like just, we have the same placement. You were describing Pluto and Venus. Exactly the same. And like I was so inspired, like in every way. And even though like actually as a personality, he's not the most inspiring person, I'll just say, but a lovely person. But I'm just saying, like spiritually very shut off and has a lot of issues, right? Whatever, but a really good-hearted person. And I was so inspired though, creatively, spiritually, in every way. It was like I rose up so much in my life because of just meeting him. And unbeknownst to him, I was so healed just knowing him. And I have created my son, like total miracle in my 40s with him. Like it was totally unbelievable how that all happened, and had my daughter's an incredible thing I did at 31, had that beautiful daughter. And then I had this beautiful son, and all of it was just miraculous, changed my whole life. But it wasn't necessarily literally, he didn't have that intention to do that, or do you know what I mean? That was just energy that comes together and combusts into, and it was brilliant. Changed my whole life for the better, even though it was a disaster as an actual relationship.
And go ahead, Julie. Go ahead.
Makes sense with the Pluto energy, which is very transformational. So it transforms everything about you.
Yeah.
Do you want to? Because again, if we do go public, for some people watching this show, if indeed we're going to talk about this type of healing work and we are going to transform and help some people, do you want to share some of the symptoms you were having about your timing, and also maybe your stomach being upside down? Do you want to explain that to the audience a little bit, Julie, as well?
Yeah, for sure. Usually my moons are synced with the moon. So how do we say that? Menstruations?
Your cycle?
My cycle, yes. Let's say cycle. It's prettier. So my cycle is usually synced with the moon.
Yeah.
I usually bleed on the new moon, well, these days. And I was a couple of days earlier, maybe like 2-3 days, which is not a big deal, but it's just that I feel like I've been processing a lot of trauma. And I've been going to the Reiki earlier, and she said I was in the process of letting go of a root chakra blockage. So it kind of makes a lot of sense now. And I'm having this awakening at the same time, and I'm letting go the old trauma, the old things that I don't need anymore, the old energy. And also, as we are speaking, it is the eclipse, the new moon eclipse. So there's a lot of energy in the air, a lot. Yeah. So I think it's adding on to this very, very intense energy. And the eclipse is also a new cycle because it is a new moon. And the eclipse is like new moons, but like on steroids, so maybe like 3 times stronger. And it's also conjunct the South Node, which means letting go of the old, breaking from the past, letting old karma go. And so I feel like it's very on point with what's going on in the stars as well.
And it's funny, we didn't plan to record this today. It just all happened, and Janine and I were, having issues with her schedule all week, and we kind of moved stuff around. And I'm like, oh, we'll just do it Friday, not really thinking what was going on. Yeah. And so here we are today on this very special day. That's cool. Yeah, Galactic Odyssey Origins.
Okay, I
Go
gotta
ahead.
say, I don't know about you guys, but this should be a special show that we should put out there. We might, I don't know, maybe Julie doesn't agree, but this is amazing. The healing that could go on for people just hearing things like listening, and the astrology knowledge we're throwing around here. And like, this is brilliant. I'm just saying, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
I don't want to force anybody. We can
I
also
agree. I'm all good with all this.
yeah, it's like, wow.
we can still sleep on it. What I'll do is I'll send you all a copy of it. You can go watch it again. But before I do that, I think I had one more question. And Julie, you had one more too, I think. Do you want to go first, Julie, and I'll maybe go last?
Go, because mine were concerning more the collective energy, so you can go first.
Okay. Well, mine is too. So let's move into collective energies then, and I guess I'll fit. Oh, I'll start on the collective energy.
Okay.
So Julie first met me through this episode here, and this episode, the idea behind it, where no woo has gone before. Elena Danan and I were talking about exactly what you just said, Janine, that we as humans are about to move into this new area of knowledge where we have communications with our galactic families. And isn't it funny that is the episode that caught Julie's attention and then closed the loop and brought this connection to bear?
Wow.
So do you want to maybe either say something? Do you have an opinion on that? Or do you want to pull some cards to see what else about that connection makes sense from an extraterrestrial standpoint? Is there other things that maybe our ET star families right now would like to say to Julie and myself with respect to that mission? Again, we're all ears and we're looking for clarity. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, they want to talk. Okay,
Oh,
there's my off-worlder. And so, like, they say that together you guys will both channel clearer off-world information. You work better together. And they're so happy that you found each other. That was the whole idea. They were putting it out there, trying to get you guys to connect. So this is hilarious.
Wow. I swear to God, guys, we did not pre-plan this.
They're like,
The off-world card.
Right. Well, any thoughts on that, Julie?
The off-world card, when we were talking about off-worlder, it's kind of very synchronized. I love it.
Right.
funny.
All right. How about you, Julie? Any? So you have two questions, I believe, for the collective. Choose whichever one you want to go with first.
Okay. So December is a huge month with all the energies. So we spoke a little bit about the eclipse that's going on right now as we are filming this. And we have also two other major events. One being the final square between Saturn and Uranus that's coming exact on December 24th. And so we've been under this influence all year, Saturn being the rules, asking us to be compliant with all the regulations, the authority, and Uranus being the need to set free from all of this, to be free, to be sovereign, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you guys have been talking a lot about this.
Yeah.
We have?
So, yeah, I think so. So we had this square 3 times this year, and the last one is on December 24th. So I was wondering, Janine, what do you think this third exact square is going to bring to the collective? Is it more on the financial scale? Is it more protests, more regulations? What do you think?
Okay.
It's political, because that's a political kind of parties card, and a big, and it challenges. So I think it's to do with governments, because like what I've been getting is all the governments are shadowed right now, and they're puppeted, and they're playing out a worst case scenario to wake people up. But that's just my opinion, what I get. So it's putting pressure on the governments with their draconian, unbelievable weirdness that's been going on. Like, how can you explain what's going on? It makes no sense. And it feels like they'll get healthier through it, although it'll be disruptive. So in other words, the true government might shine through, like the true leadership, let's call it, because the governments are all in on something and literally behaving badly is putting it nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're literally against the humans. So I feel like it puts a lot of pressure. So that day puts all this pressure on that to reform itself. But there's something already ready to come up and under it that's been there all along, for many years, maybe even. And I think that's sort of been dealt with, but we're just watching this big movie and we don't know about it yet. So I feel like the crack might happen then, where they have to show that, that the curtain raises on.
So it could escalate at that point and then get better. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. A lot of sense. Okay. And last question for the collective. So there's a very interesting alignment between Venus and Pluto that's going to happen twice in 2021 on December 11th and 25th.
Wow.
So, and Venus and Pluto are both also financial planets. So I thought maybe it could usher in a financial turnover crisis. Would it be connected to that aspect?
I get a passing away of an old system and a beginning of a new one. It has something to do with Mr. T. That's my Mr. T card. So I wonder if that's the new financial system overtaking and finally becoming obvious to even the normal people, and the death of the sort of already bankrupt system that's pretending to still limp along there. I think that's when it finally coughs and wheezes and dies.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Because it ties into, we were wondering why all of these rapid fire events, these tower moments, were all showing up in December. We just recorded this Beyond Crypto Woo.
That is wild. Yeah.
Right. And now we see the astrological alignments here to perhaps some of the events that we were tuning into. Wow. That's fascinating.
And you two might want to think about doing a show on one of those dates, since your Venus and his Pluto are sitting in conjunct, you might want to align your first, I don't know.
Or maybe this episode, we can launch it on one of those dates too as a premiere, and we can go live and chat on it if we want. We could do that. Yeah.
But I forgot to mention there's a Venus that's going to go retrograde also. So that's why there's going to be 3 conjunctions with Pluto, because Venus is direct and then goes retrograde and then direct again. So there's 3 hits. So Venus retrograde period is going to be from December 19 until end of January. So we can expect, I think, the big ushering into the next financial system. I think it's going to get through this retrograde period.
So I just, as you were saying that whole movement, bang, 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 I'm like, okay, no wonder we keep seeing all these tower card moments.
And the tower had a 3 connected to it. So I wonder if when I did the big zodiac on my December look, I had the tower across from the 3 of Pentacles. So I feel like that 3 you're talking about, that's put in place spiritually to just get this to finally push through, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. And the last one is going to be in March, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to take a while before it gets done, I think, but it certainly gets initiated.
Wow.
Very soon.
That's so exciting.
Wow. Okay. That reminds me. So my birthday's in March, and you guys don't need to actually say the actual day here on the show in case we do publicize this. But is there something interesting, maybe, Julie, I know maybe you don't have time to look at my chart, but why would March be important for me also as the Aries, as we're shifting into this age of Aquarius? Is there anything well, I'll start with Janine. Maybe she can pull some cards on this, and then I'll come back to you, Julie, if there's anything that matches there in the chart. So, Janine, my question would be, March of this year, my birthday, my Aries chart, the age of Aquarius, and all of this initiation, transformation we are in now, as Cliff High calls it. What's my role in all that, or what can universe tell me to maybe navigate, to hit the highest notes, or to achieve my mission?
You have a revelation about a book and or something you need to put out there. So a show revelation or revelation, you're gonna have a big breakthrough that really sends you to the heights you're looking to be as far as work and career go. So it has it's like you're hitting the tarmac and shooting forward work-wise somehow. So it's very much to do with, but it spiritually getting the word out is your work, right? So I don't mean just literally work for money's sake, work for your life work.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you something interesting here. Sarah keeps dreaming that something happens on one day and like the phone is off the hook, the emails are off the hook. Everybody's like, "Holy fuck, JC, that video you did!" Suddenly, like everybody like it connects to everything, and there's like it's just like a whole new ball game. Wow, wow.
And if I may add, on the day of your birthday, you have Jupiter and Mercury in conjunction in your 5th house, which is the house of creative expression, of your own business, of all the creative projects that you may have. So Jupiter is higher learning also in Pisces. So it's like a big spiritual project that you are bringing to the world, I think.
Okay.
Also.
Wow. Holy crap. I got 10 more questions to ask and we're already at the hour mark. Okay, I think we're going to leave it here. Maybe I'll ask you first, Julie. Any last questions for Janine? Any last words of wisdoms? Anything else that you want to share with the audience here before we go? Could be a comment, whatever you like.
Well, I just want to thank you guys for having me here. It's an honor. I've been watching you for a while now. When Bryce said that you guys are her CNN is truth. It's the truth. I've been watching you guys. It's been very inspiring. So being here is very surreal right now, and I'm very honored to be here. Thank you.
Oh, okay, you're gonna make us cry now. All right. And how about you, Jenny? Any last words of wisdom, or do you want to pull cards? Oh, yeah, actually, I want to ask you this specifically. What is the motivational energy or intention, or energy propelling this Galactic Odyssey Genesis? What's behind all of it? Who's behind all of it? What do Julie, you and I need to know here in terms of what's putting all this together and propelling it forward here for humanity?
Well, it's definitely karmic work. So even the 3 of us, and I'm not trying to horn in on you guys, I'm telling you. I'm just saying.
I'm happy to have you in all my shows, Janine.
Very happy. I'm very happy.
It's karmic. This is karmic. Like we were meant to. We made this plan a long time ago to take the world in a unique, like sort of be at the helm of this unique turn the world is taking, and we're going to be a big part of it. And us coming together. And I doubt if this will be the last time we're all seen together on a video. Okay.
Please.
I doubt so very much too. All right. Wow. Well, folks, that was a private conversation of Galactic Odyssey Genesis with Janine, Julie, and myself. Of course, you can find Julie here at maisonjupiter.com, and you can also find Janine at Tarot by Janine here on YouTube and also here on Sending Ravens. I'm Jean-Claude at BeyondMystic. I love you guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you again soon. Au revoir.
Au revoir.